Hi guys, welcome to a new episode of your IGCSE Tutors. Today, I will be discussing this Cambridge IGCSE Economics Paper 2 Section A. Here is the source material. Question 1A. Calculate St. Kitts and Nevis government budget deficit in 2022. So, budget deficit means that the government spending is more than the tax revenue. So to find the budget deficit, you need to use tax revenue minus government spending. So is 292 minus 310, you will get negative 18 million. Question B. Identify two examples of the factor of production land in St. Kitts and Nevis. So first you need to know what is a land. So the definition is that the natural resources used to produce goods and services. So you don't need to write this, but just a knowledge. So you need to identify the examples, which is from this paragraph highlighted in the yellow. So the first one is beach and rainforest. Question C. Explain how tourism causes external costs in St. Kitts and Nevis. So for this question, it says the command word is explain. So first, you need to identify what is the external cost by giving the definition, and second, you need to tell me the example of it. So first one, external cost is harmful effects experienced by the third party after consumption or production of certain goods. And you can give an example. For example, here, coral reefs have been polluted, or marine life have been destroyed. Question D. Explain two reasons why a foreign bank may open a branch in St. Kitts and Nevis. So from this paragraph, we know that the foreign bank is a kind of MNCs. So there are three reasons highlighted in the yellow part. So for the three reasons, you just need to choose two and explain. So 2 marks for identifying and 2 marks for explanation. First, higher incomes. When people have more income, they have more demand to borrow loan from bank to fund for big ticket item, or you can say that higher value goods and services, for example, cars and houses. So this creates a higher revenue for bank. This is the first reason. And the second reason can be high literacy rate. Sorry for typo here. So when a country has a high literacy rate, the labor productivity will be higher, so firms earn more revenue, thus they are more likely to expand. When they expand, they need to borrow loan from the bank. So that's why foreign bank wants to open a branch in St. Kitts and Nevis so that they can earn more revenue. Question E. Draw a demand and supply diagram to show the effect of an increase in the productivity of onion farmers on the market for onions. So for this one is pretty direct. You just draw the diagram and label. On the x-axis here, you need to label quantity of onions, and for the y-axis you need to label price of onions. And when there is an increase in productivity, the supply curve will shift rightwards. Okay, so first you need to label the initial demand and supply curve, DO, SO, and the initial price and the initial quantity. After that, you just shows the new supply curve by labeling as S1, and then you also need to put the new price and quantity here. For the arrow is optional, but it helps you to see more clearly. Question F. Analyze the relationship between healthcare spending as a percentage of GDP and life expectancy. So for this 5-mark question, you need to take from the diagram here. So the first step I will do is to analyze the overall pattern, the overall relationship and the overall pattern. As there are many numbers here, so I'll recommend you to label one by one. So for this first part, the first column, I will label the first one as the highest one. The highest one as the first one, and you just do it like accordingly. And for life expectancy, you can do it as well. So it helps you to see it clearly. Okay, so from this diagram, we can clearly see that Monaco is the exception because it has the lowest healthcare spending as a percentage of GDP, as this is 6, but it has a highest life expectancy. Okay, so this is the very important detail, the very important point that we need to know. Okay, so first one, the relationship. First states whether it is a positive or inverse relationship. In this case, is positive relationship. So you just say, the higher the healthcare spending as a percentage of GDP, the higher the life expectancy. And second part, you will need to give evidence. So first evidence you can give is that Canada has the highest healthcare spending as a percentage of GDP, and it has the second longest life expectancy. So this proves the positive relationship. And if you have time, you can also give a second evidence, which is Haiti has the second lowest healthcare spending as a percentage of GDP and has shortest life expectancy. Ignore this typo. So after this, you need to give a reason. So more spending can improve the quality of healthcare and reduce illnesses, which increases life expectancy. So for evidence, try to give contrasting evidence so you won't repeat yourself. And definitely the third part, you need to give the exception, which I have mentioned just now. It's Monaco. So Monaco has the lowest healthcare spending as a percentage of GDP, but has the longest life expectancy. So the reason can be there may be other factors that influence life expectancy, such as nutrition. So for example, they have a very healthy lifestyle and nutrition, which makes them have a higher life expectancy. So for this is 5 marks. All the answers here definitely exceeded 5 marks. So during exams, you can just gauge what you want to write. But try to cover 5 points. Question G. Discuss whether or not an increase in the size of its fishing industry would benefit St. Kitts and Nevis. So for this kind of question, 6 marks. For the discussed question, you need to give 3 points. So it can be either 2 for, 1 against, or 1 for, 2 against. And you give 3 points and 3 explanations. So first, the increase in the size of fishing industry is beneficial because there will be less imports of fish. So why is it better? So when the industry itself grows, there's less need for St. Kitts and Nevis to import fish. So their import becomes less than export. Hence, this improves the current account balance. So this is the first point. Second point can be it helps the country to take advantage of economies of scale. So to recap this idea, economies of scale means when the production or the industry increases in size, the average cost of production becomes lower. So when the cost becomes lower, the firms can reduce their export prices. so this improves their international competitiveness. And for against, you need to think about why is it not beneficial. So one reason is that it incurs opportunity costs. So to increase the competitiveness of this fishing industry, government may need to cut funding from other essential sectors such as healthcare. So this may lead to like lower life expectancy. So you can elaborate more on that. Question H. Discuss whether or not deflation is likely to have harms and kids and nevis. So let's recap on what is deflation. It is the fall in value over time to a negative rate over time. So I give you an example. For example, the inflation rate is 3% in year 1, but in year 2 it falls to negative 1%. So there is an deflation in year 2. So this means that the rate needs to be negative, and there will be an increase in the real value of money. So this will increase the purchasing power of money as goods become more affordable to consumers. So for first point for 4, first, lower consumer confidence. When prices are falling, consumers expect them to fall more in the future, so they delay spending and result in a total reduction in consumption and GDP. Okay, so second point can be increased real value of debts. So the borrowers or the debtors, now they need to repay more than what they borrow. So when they need to repay more, this increases risk of default or bankruptcy, as they may not be able to repay. So as a result, the financial services may collapse and falls into recession. Okay, so moving on, for against, a point that you can say is that there is an increase in real value of money. As prices fall, people's money can buy more goods and services than before, or this also means that the purchasing power increases. So goods become more affordable, especially necessities. So this will help the lower income group to afford their daily expenses, as necessities takes up most of their income. So here's the end of our video. Hope this video helps you, and I'll see you in the next video.